Behind the Cape. Coogler News. Proximity Media has struck a deal with Netflix.
Yeah, I saw this. So we saw last summer what Ryan Coogler had for us when it came to his completely independent vision, right? Outside of what a major studio wanted him to do, outside of any IP or established franchise, completely original content. And so if that's what we can expect from him in the lines of original content, I think there's more gold to dig there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I have my criticisms of some of the directions and the narrative choices that are made in some of his flicks, but um, all in all, he's still a prolific content maker. So I would like to see more sinners like angles in some television shows. Hopefully, he can be more creative and a little bit more, interesting in some of the angles he tries to present than a Tyler Perry or a 50 Cent who continues to feed us fucking dope, dope dog food. Like
Sure.
this just consistent. So it'll be nice, a nice change of pace, I guess, to have him at Netflix. And plus, the further he get away from Disney, the better.
Sure. Yeah, I think we've said a lot of negative things about Ryan Coogler throughout the years because of some of the content that he's put out, because of a lot of the tropes that he kind of deals with from time to time. But I think the chance to have more at bats, the chance to hopefully get his creative vision out there maybe a little bit more, will hopefully lead to him not using some of these tropes as a crutch so much, and then therefore maybe we do get some very solid, projects.
I mean, Netflix, it's already going to be condensed a bit,
Sure.
right? In terms of presentation, that's just their the way that they make product over there. But really, what I'm paying the more attention to is the subject matter,
Yeah,
right? The subject matter, and plus the faces leading the projects. Right?
yeah.
That's important as well, and so that is something that you can count on Ryan Coogler to do. So I'm not worried in that aspect. Excited to see what comes of it.
Sure. Perp said as long as they're not pumping out some BS, could be interesting. I think. Yeah, this
Yep.
this this gives us the opportunity to look at Ryan Coogler and say, okay,
And I mean, we've had highs and lows, right? We've had Creed 1 and 2. We've had,
yep,
or Creed 1.
one, yeah,
Creed 1. We've had Black Panther 1. You've had, you've had Sinners. And then
had,
you've had some lows. You've had Wakanda Forever. You've had Ironheart wasn't great for me.
yeah.
So I haven't even seen Eyes of Wakanda. I don't really plan on putting it on either. So we'll see.
I think we here don't praise Ryan Coogler as much as you see other probably black content creators, but we also don't hate him and don't think that every single thing he does is extremely negative. And so we'll be looking for, what can come out of this, what positive can come out of this, and what things we might like, hopefully.
Yeah.
You retweeted Proud Family, season 4, last season.
Because the same site that broke the news about season 4 being the last site, last week they was like, ooh, big news drops next week about season 4 of Proud Family, Louder and Prouder. And I was like, they about to cancel this shit. They're about to fucking cancel this shit. Because, like, why are you piecemealing out
That's
news
crazy.
about you about to fucking cancel it.
Big news, guys.
Right, big news. That's like it's some congratulatory thing that you're off the air now.
Big news, it's canceled.
And then I did point out the fact that season 5 in the latest agreement in the Screen Actors Guild is the watermark for syndication now. So that's when you get a pay bump as writers and actors and producers and stuff or not producers, but I don't believe it's producers, it's the writers and actors. That's all in the guild.
It used to be 100 episodes? Or is that not?
I don't. Yes, it was 100. Yeah. When we were still on cable, it was 100 episodes. So now to incorporate streaming, they made it season 5, is your point in
That's
which you get that
actually
bump.
well, no,
But
it's
no, but
not.
you see it a lot. You see it a lot now. Everybody ending on season. When did The Boys end?
4. No, 5.
5. It
Yeah,
ended on 5.
yeah,
I think. Well, Power was predated
yeah.
the new agreement, but you're going to see a lot of programs not making it to a 6th, 7th, 8th season because that's when it gets expensive for the studio to actually invest in the actors and pay them their due.
Well, the reason I said it was interesting at first is because I was like, well, that's half of the episodes basically.
It's
It was
also
10 episodes.
syndication at that point, so now you have to pay royalty checks
Yeah,
to folks as well on the back end. So
yeah,
they have a lot of financial incentives to get this shit wrapped up and done in 5 seasons or less.
sure. Yeah, I was thinking 5 seasons, 10 episode seasons. That's literally half. But then
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, they don't allow these shows to last that long.
Nope.
They just don't. A lot of
Yep.
these shows are over after 3 or 4. So I guess it makes sense.
Yep.
Unfortunately, that sucks. Well,
At the end, I think Proud Family was it was a bright spot, but you know what it probably ended up being. Yeah, and I even hate to say this, but like them acquiring Gracie's Corner. It's like, hey, listen, we only gonna have so many of y'all on here now.
that
The boat
sounds
ain't
like a
that
Disney
goddamn
thing.
big.
That sounds like such a
we
Disney
ain't
thing.
we ain't gonna have, but too many of y'all up here at one time now.
Yeah.
Now y'all want y'all Gracie's Corner. All right, we'll pick that shit up. But Penny got to go sit her ass down.
Jordan Peele has a script ready for his next film, and Key is nowhere near that shit.
Okay, this ain't got nothing
Key
to
and
do
his
with
wife
Key.
are nowhere near
This ain't
it.
got nothing to do with Key. But yeah, did he say I think it said something. It was a note about Universal being on board.
I saw
with
that.
It.
I
Okay.
saw that in another tweet, but yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
We think this is another. Well, we don't know. We haven't heard anything
It's
about it. But another installment to it,
oh,
or yeah, I was gonna say another installment to the anthology he's already had going.
race-based horror film.
I want to see him. I want to see if he can create a through line to all of this. Because right now I don't see it. I don't see the line between
Get Out,
Us,
Nope.
and Nope. I don't see it. If he's able to like just kind of pull, he had this like forward vision to pull all three of those together. It's pretty. That would be pretty dope.
The
Pretty dope.
JPHCU.
It would be reminiscent of how Mr. Glass kind of came all together for me. Because I wasn't really putting it all together with Invincible. Well, obviously Invincible and Mr. Glass, but I hadn't really got to the point with Split until the very end. And I was like, oh shit, that's dude. Okay, I hadn't really put it all together, and it kind of shocked me. So like I'm expecting that same type of smack over the head that all of this stuff was actually connected somehow. I mean, if M. Night Shyamalan could do it,
It's
then
going to be all brought together by some generational trauma-based twist.
nah, you know what it is. You know what it's gonna be.
Jim Crow.
It's gonna be so. It's gonna be like your. Ooh, I know how. Ooh, here it is. Boom, just came up with it. All right, so boom, there's a cabal, the Illuminati, if you will, right?
Spoilers? If they haven't seen the movies?
There's a cabal, the Illuminati, if you will, right? And so this cabal has been, experimenting on different ways to call the human race into their servitude and to put them in the gulag so that they can, live wealthy and pillage the rest of the earth that hasn't already been pillaged, right? And so some of those experiments include body swapping,
Yeah.
huh?
Yep.
Body control through a cloned partner, with testing centers under local carnivals as to not alert the public,
Okay.
and to remain incognito, right?
Yep.
And their latest experiment that they've been working on, is extraterrestrial aircrafts that cloak themselves in clouds.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, no. Okay. All right. I'm with you. Still.
And so now we got a kick-ass ex-military, expatriate, and he's hunting down the cabal, and he's tracked all of these instances together, and he's found all the survivors out of the last 3 movies. He got Keke Palmer, he got a Lil Rod. He got to put some weight back on, but we can
Lil
go
Rel.
get
Lil Rel.
Lil Rel, excuse me, yeah, Lil Rel.
Lil Rod is
Lil Rod is
the
crazy. Lil Rel,
the bit he lost.
we gonna give him a sandwich so he can get back to the shape he was in and get out. And then we gonna find the Tether sister. See, they gonna rank. See, them 3 gonna get together, and then they gonna have to go find the Tether sister, the one who actually is, the one from down below,
Right.
the other one. Right? They gonna have to track her down because they need her to find out where the cabal is at.
Okay. No, that all makes that could work. But how does that stand as its own movie and then tie everything else?
Oh, it doesn't.
Oh.
It don't. No, that it's very obvious. It would show in the trailer. It would show in the trailer.
We're gonna bring all 3 of these movies
together in the trailer. Yep.
That's hilarious. I was with you, but you gotta actually have a movie here.
Apparently, there was a proposed reboot of Police Academy.
I saw this too.
That Key and Peele were thinking about going ahead and do. Now, it was around the time of the Ferguson protest behind Mike Brown being murdered, and so studio decided not to go with it.
Smart move,
right?
At the time,
or I think it was. Oh, let me read the whole thing. Canceled. It was killed. Okay, so yeah, they decided not to go with it, right? Mm-hmm. So here is Peter Asensio. Let's see, what are Peter's credentials before I start talking about him. He is an Emmy and Peabody award-winning director and producer. So he was the guy who was essentially pegged to do the reboot.
Yeah.
Right? He says on Twitter, reposting this story a couple days ago, says, "This is true, and I proposed we pivot by making it a comedy about 2 black cops who bring down a cabal of racist, corrupt cops inside. This is where I got it from. A racist white cabal, corrupt cops inside the force." And the studio said, "Absolutely not," and shut the whole thing down.
Yeah, of course they did. Of course.
Right? That's where I got my idea for Jordan's next movie. This is where his tanked Police Academy reboot and then pivot after the Mike Brown killing reboot is going to now live and breathe in a much broader sense and tying together Nope, Us, and Get Out.
Yes.
Hey, listen, if you need a hype man, Jordan, you let me know.
Because now you're actually tying it to a story that could be on its own based on police shootings. Because that's a racially charged.
So then so they take down the racist white cop cabal, and in the process of taking them down, they see the connection between all of the other instances.
I don't know how you do that.
Nigga,
again, I don't write movies.
If that's the movie, don't tell me that I didn't kind of piece this shit out.
You did.
Y'all all are witness right now.
Yeah.
Everybody here.
I don't write movies, so I don't know how you're going to piece all those together, but if you do,
it's going to happen.
You got it.
It's going to happen. Watch.
I'm sure a writer could probably.
That's how he's going to do it.
Just saying. Some good news for black people. Comic View returns.
Nice.
With host CP. Shout out to CP. Liking our video on Instagram. I think that's a really good thing. Especially in a world where we need more outlets for specifically black comedians. Because right now it's Instagram and TikTok.
Well, I mean, if it works for, certain individuals to go over there and spout nonsense, then, it should work for black comedians actually telling decent comedy.
Yeah.
If certain individuals can run that gambit, we created it, so, we can run it back. Comic View.
Facts. Shout out to Comic View. I will say, there seems to be a trend amongst stand-up comedy that's mostly focused on crowd work, which is good and funny.
But that's not stand up though.
It's
not
not
a
stand
set.
up, and
Yeah.
everybody can't fucking do it, right? Like everybody can't build their career off of just doing crowd work. Some of y'all gotta let it go. Some of y'all gotta stop and figure out another way, and hopefully Comic View can.
Like
I know a
few of them comics that do that basically, and they just sitting there and they rapping with people in the crowd, and it usually goes well.
Yeah.
Black comics, sometimes the political comics who do really well with crowd work because you always have your angle about politics. You can always work your angle. When you just kind of talking generally and you work in a crowd, you kind of got to go with what they offering up to you and make it funny.
Yeah.
You know, it's not as easy because if you're talking about politics, you can kind of have your pre-baked jokes in and give it out to everybody equally.
Yeah.
It ain't like that if you doing, just talking about social, hey, where your kids at tonight type shit.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like there are some comics who make that have already basically made that their thing. You know, your Matt Rifes, your Nate Jacksons, your Mojos even. But then like some of y'all gotta let that go. Like it can't be all of y'all's way in. You know what I mean? Some of y'all gotta go back to telling jokes for real. Cause that worked for some, but we're not about to just literally change stand up to be crowd work.
Let's get Drewski on the stage.
I don't
Season finale, season 1. Drewski does a set.
Drewski's about to do something.
Yeah. Did you ever see the movie he did with Theo Von?
No.
Where they was like supposed to be brothers or some shit like that?
No. No. Man. I do remember what you're talking about, but no, I did not see that.
I just don't know. Yeah, he's in the movie because he got a name and his face appears. But like, is he in the movie? You know what I mean?
Chris
How many
Brown
speaking lines? Bow. I'm not paid $9 for this.
Columbus short.
I don't even know this nigga.
That's hilarious.